these essential high-frequency livelihood needs. In the future, they are the guarantee for the supply of basic necessities for the people, the foundation of our daily lives. I think this aligns with the country's requirements, and it can also create massive employment opportunities and generate huge tax revenue. Plus, it helps promote social fairness and common prosperity. It also creates national security because when we talk about clothing, food, housing, and transportation, rice, firewood, oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, and tea, these 7 essentials, when you open your door, every single one is a big deal. Each is a major industry. Let me give a simple example. A lot of our comrades say that our country is very strong. We're not worried about decoupling. We can close ourselves off and just do our own thing. But these comrades don't work in the economy, so they don't really know. So let me give a simple example. I don't understand ships, and I don't know much about science, technology, missiles, or rockets, but there's one thing I do understand. We're able to import these seeds, but now even grain is an issue for us. Most of it can't be brought in. There's also pressure on our supply of edible oils and fats. Right now, every year we import about 10 to 20 million tons of soybeans. The biggest edible oil company in China is Ehai Carry, which is actually a Malaysian company, and it's #1 in China, controlling about 60% of the market. Secondly, if we can't import soybeans after the oil is extracted, the soybean meal, which is used for animal feed, would also be affected. It's used for raising pigs, and if there's not enough, even pork becomes an issue. In China, 60% of consumers' meat consumption is pork. So just a small thing like soybeans can solve so many problems, or cause so many problems. It's something that's both very close to ordinary people and yet feels so far away, because you're so used to it. You think you can buy meat, soy sauce, and cooking oil anywhere, so in your mind, there's never been an issue. You just assume everything will always be fine. These things are what we call within easy reach. So the biggest issue with consumption is that because you see it all the time, you take it for granted. But behind this sense of everyday normalcy are countless people working tirelessly, millions moving forward, all to protect and maintain the sense of comfort and well-being for you. But this level of national food oil safety and food security, this is what we call food security, is not so easily achieved. It's only been about 50 years since we've had enough to eat, and if you know your history, you'll see that. So this really isn't something to be taken lightly. It's not something trivial, it's a big deal. If you look at the weather lately, you'll see recent heat waves have been scorching. Right now, Chongqing, Chengdu, and Sichuan are China's major hydropower provinces. Our hydropower output leads the rest, but even so, about 60% of major hydropower provinces across China are also leaders in clean energy. Yet, the market still has power shortages, because electricity from the west must go east. In the middle and lower Yangtze River, in places like Shanghai, East China, and Zhejiang, there isn't much demand for hydropower. The market has contributed a lot to East China. Now, as the weather gets hotter, water levels in the Yangtze River are dropping and rivers and lakes face drought. What do? Sichuan, a major hydropower province, faces water and electricity shortages. How should we view this? Everything I say today is based on my own research and judgment, not my organization's views. What I'm saying is definitely not the absolute truth either. I just hope it gets everyone thinking. This is purely an academic discussion, and this situation might actually become the norm. So we have to accept it, right? We just have to accept it. So when it comes to the idea that man can conquer nature, I think we need to take a step back and look at things separately. We are in a period where we can distinguish things clearly and want to break free from the historical cycle theories seen in major countries. Such a great goal and vision, right? We want to build a fair, just society, and at this turning point, one upholding transitional justice. Of course, society will pay a huge price for this. It's not achieved overnight. It's not something you can accomplish just by talking or posting a message in your social circle. Just sending out a signal or posting on your moments isn't going to help us achieve our goals. During times when we're making declarations and setting concrete political policies, it may take a whole generation or even 2 to put in tremendous effort and pay a huge price. So, in this process, I think that when there's a strong and frequent demand, the extension of basic infrastructure becomes really important. The solid establishment of these infrastructures is crucial. Even the top leaders talk about seed security, and we talk about food security. Maybe a lot of people don't really get it. They just think things are always insecure. So, is it easy if you don't work on it? Right? You probably don't really feel it either. Just look at the situation with seeds in China. Do you know the position Monsanto holds in the global seed industry and in the chemical industry? Then you'll understand, are our seeds really that secure? I just want to ask, are they really that secure? That's the question. I raised a question and said that in consumption, essential, high frequency, and basic livelihood infrastructure will be key for future growth. I've always said rice, flour, oil, salt, soy sauce, vinegar, tea, everything you need when you open your door, even a kitchen knife, any of these could be the base for a major company. Why do we have regrets? Why do we have Nongfu Spring? Why do we have this brand? Hai Hai? Why do we have Tianwai? Why do we have Mutai? Some say China's wealth is all about water, but it's more than water. The Chinese people's desire for a better life is incredibly strong. There are 1.4 billion ordinary people in China. The market is just enormous. The desire among Chinese people for a better life is incredibly strong, right? It's exactly these strong desires, this longing for a good life, that basically represent the high demand for quality of life at the time. That's what drives the creation of such huge companies. Demand and supply go hand in hand. Once they align at a certain point and reach a relatively favorable situation, China's wealth really shows its astonishing explosive power. That's why many people didn't understand. Johua Capital sent many of China's firsts to the China Securities Regulatory Commission. For example, the first soy sauce stock, Jujia, was handled by me. The first sunflower seed stock, the first nut and roasted seed stock, those were by me. The first metal packaging, monosodium glutamate, and lecithin snack stocks were handled by me. The first breakfast stock, Barbie Mantu, was my project. The first lingerie stock, Maniform, was my work. The first functional beverage stock, Dongpeng, was by me. There are others like the first Inju paint stock and so on. With so many first stocks, what is the common wish after they go public? It turns out that anything related to 80% of the needs of 80% of Chinese people is always reliable. China really is a magical country. It's like Velcro. As long as you latch onto the main street, the main trend, you're set. If you follow the main trends and currents and put your heart into it, the market will reward you with a pleasant surprise. That's why, for so many years, Johua has consistently supported the Chinese economy and helped national brands become a part of everyday life. No, the core consumption needs of ordinary people are different. What I do is all about innovative consumption. Even if their families prefer tradition, that's fine. Like I said, firmly focus on essential needs and high-quality facilities. Address the real, basic needs of people and become part of everyday life. By empowering ordinary people's lives, it's impossible for such an endeavor not to succeed. It's impossible not to make money, and it's impossible for such a company not to be a good one. My goal is to lead companies and brands like this. From participating in national economic and brand competitions to aiming for the Olympics of branding, this is my lifelong goal. I believe work like this is truly valuable and meaningful.